Welcome in everyone. Today we are back with another ultimate hunting video. We're going to be talking about the animal list from California, and it's going to be a pretty extensive list, but I feel like a lot of Americans are already familiar with the species that are going to be hunted. So let's go ahead and get into it. Here is the overall list. It looks like there's going to be about 17 species huntable, and the first is going to be black bear. So the American black bear is one of the most common bear species in America, whether it's from the woodlands all the way into the inner cities. So I'm not that surprised that they made it in here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Ultimate Game Atlas. We can see the American black bear, and then we actually have a couple lists going down. It goes species, scientific name, the range, suggested caliber, and then it gives us a little bit of trivia at the end. So we're going to quickly go through each one of these animals and talk about each category that has been listed. But there's going to be one more thing that I do want to talk about, and it's these skulls up in the top right hand corner. I'm pretty sure this is going to be considering the lethality of this animal to our hunter. I could easily be wrong though, so if you know something I don't, please leave me a comment down below. For the black bear, the range is the wooded lands of Canada and the US. It has a bunch of different calibers that you can actually take this critter with. And then the food is basically, berries, roots, a little bit of meat and insects that they can find. The lethality is 2 out of 5, so I would expect this critter to maybe rush us if they're jumped or they're scared. I wouldn't expect it to be a very common occurrence, like every time you see them, they're coming after you, but I would definitely say if you spook them or jump them, they're coming after you. Maybe if they have some babies with them, they're getting it, definitely. For Tule elk, we have the range as California. The suggested caliber is 30-06, 300, 308, and the 270. The Tule elk are pretty much the smallest subspecies of elk and really can only be found in California. I haven't heard of anywhere else these critters can be found. Their habitat's probably going to be mostly grasslands with some mountainous terrain mixed in. Their lethality is a 2 out of 5, and I would probably consider this more so a if you get trampled type thing. There's only been a few instances where I've heard of an elk actually getting aggressive towards a human, or maybe more so a human's car. So I wouldn't really consider this one an aggression, more so just a factor of simple physics. If you get hit by a antlered animal that weighs over 500 pounds, you're probably going to get hurt. So this next critter is probably going to hurt you pretty good if you get in a tangle. We have a cougar or a puma from South America, and the range is both Americas except for the northern part of Canada. For the suggested calibers, we do have a 223, a 243 win, a 270 win, a 308 win, and then the 30-06. These guys are incredible sprinters and can jump up to about 6 feet high, so they're going to be one of the more dangerous predators we can face on this game. The lethality is a 3 out of 5, so I would say that this critter is probably going to get after you if you see them in most cases. For the Columbia black-tailed deer, we have the range down as Western US and the coastal British Columbia of Canada. The suggested calibers are 243, 270, 6.5 by 55, 7mm, and the 30-06. The bucks grow a pair of antlers every year, and they're probably one of the smaller deer species on the west coast. I would say their habitat is primarily grasslands with maybe some bedding in the forest, but I mostly caught deer out in some type of field. Their lethality is a 1 out of 5, so again, it's not gonna be like an aggressive behavior. It's probably gonna be more of a spooked behavior or just a random thing. Now for the mule deer, their range is going to be Western North America. There's a bunch of suggested calibers from the 243 all the way to the 6.5. Now they are a little bit bigger than the blacktails, and their antlers are gonna have a wider spread and probably thicker beams as well. Their habitat's most likely going to be very similar to the black-tailed deer. I would consider any type of grassland, any field to be a feeding zone, and then maybe bedding down in the trees. Their lethality as well is a 1 out of 5, and I stand by the same thing. I'm guessing it is just out of randomness if you get tackled. Now we're going to move on to one of my favorite species, and that's going to be the bighorn sheep. Their range is going to be Western North America, and the suggested calibers are the 6.5, the 270 win, the 7mm rim, and the 243. Their habitat's gonna be in the mountainous rocky terrain. They really like to have those avenues to escape from predators, so you'll find them in those really hard to reach spots. So I did get a good chuckle out of the trivia when they said that the horns are the greatest weapon against a bighorn sheep's prey. I have never seen a sheep charge at anything that it considered a prey. I feel like this is more of a dominance display, so the trivia might need to be tweaked just a little bit there. Like the last two deer, the lethality is a 1 out of 5, and again I'm just going to consider that for physics, as the last thing I want to do is become a bighorn sheep's prey. The next one we're going to get on to is the wild boar, and I'm not too familiar with this one, but the range is going to be Eurasia, North Africa, also artificially introduced into North and South America, Australia, and Oceania. The calibers are 308 Win, 30-06, 7x64, 8x57, 9.3x62. Looks like they are the widest spread pig in the world except for Antarctica. That's pretty cool, I didn't know that at all. Their lethality is a 3 out of 5, and I feel like that's pretty spot on with what I hear about pigs. Definitely consider this an aggressive behavior and not just physics like I have with the last few. To the pronghorn, the range is central and western United States. The suggested calibers are the 6.5x55, the 243 Win, the 270 Win, and the 30-06. Antelope have incredible eyesight and are more relatable to giraffes than any other species. I would say their habitat is definitely going to be grasslands, as that's where I see most of them hunted. Then, like the mule deer and the black-tailed deer, their lethality is only a 1 out of 5. For the American badger, we have a range of North America. The suggested calibers are the 223, the 243, and the 270. They do feed on smaller critters underground and just smaller prey in general, as well as berries and insects. Now I would consider their habitat to be mostly grassland, just dependent on where they like to sleep and what they like to eat. And they are the only small game that I have seen with a lethality rating of 1 out of 5. So I would expect this creature to somewhat attack you in a sense, but it looks like if they do, the damage is going to be minimal, so you'll probably survive and then they'll just take off. The next one is going to be the raccoon, and I feel like they've done a really good job balancing the small game and big game. The range is North America. The suggested calibers are going to be the 17 HMR, the 223, the 243, the 6.5x55, and then birdshot. I feel like this is a pretty common species. Their habitat's probably going to be wooded areas, and the lethality looks like it's going to be a 0 out of 5, so they're really not going to attack us at all. I'd be surprised if we accrue any type of damage from small game just because of the weight they're packing. It's more of like a shove than it is a tackle. For the turkey, the range is going to be the United States. The suggested caliber is probably going to be any type of birdshot in a 12 or a 20 gauge. Then you have the 22 and the 223. What's pretty crazy is their vision is 3 times better than humans, and their field of view is 270 degrees. So that's almost completely around them. They are one of the more iconic species in the States to hunt, so I'm not surprised that it made it in here. Their habitat's going to be mostly grassland with a little bit of wooded area mixed in. Their lethality is also a 0 out of 5, so I'm going to consider them much like the raccoon, and it's just not enough to damage our character. The common pheasant has a range of Asia and Europe. It was also introduced into North America, Australia, and New Zealand. The suggested calibers are the 17, the 22, and all types of birdshot in any gauge. Now, some of these trivias are really spot on because I just didn't know this. The pheasant chicks can actually fly 12 days after they're hatched. Their lethality is also a 0 out of 5, so we can kind of see the common occurrence here with these small game. Up next is going to be the snowshoe hare. The range is northern United States and Canada. The suggested calibers are going to be the 22 long, the 22 Win, and the 17. These critters are a master of disguise with the ability to change their coat depending on the surroundings, and then the veins in their ears actually help regulate the temperature. I would probably consider their habitat to be mostly grassland, so if you're looking to do some hare hunting, that's where I would find them, maybe even up into the mountains, up into those higher alpine places. The American crow is one of the smaller game animals, so their range is going to be in the United States. Suggested caliber is going to be the .22, an air rifle, and then any type of bird shot. These are probably the most common bird in North America, and they're honestly really annoying when you're out hunting. I feel like they can really spot sneaky behavior, so when you're out in the woods, they spot you and they're just letting everybody know. Their lethality is a 0 out of 5, and again, just because of the small game. I wouldn't mind like a Halloween DLC though called the Crows. That would be pretty epic. Now for the iconic mallard duck. The range is going to be North America, Europe, and Asia. The suggested caliber is a .22, the air rifle, any type of bird shot, and then it says gauges, so I'm kind of curious what they're considering with gauges now. Their habitat's gonna be mostly grassland and wetlands. I wouldn't really see them anywhere in the forest. Their lethality is a 0 out of 5, of course. What's interesting here is that in the trivia, they actually say that there's been a record of a 27-year-old duck, which is just wild. Now for the wood duck, we actually have a range of North America. The suggested caliber is a .22 and then birdshot. It's kind of a medium-sized perching duck. I can't say that I'm that familiar with wood duck, but I would consider their habitat to be any type of wetland, a creek, or a stream. Their lethality is 0 out of 5. Now for the last but certainly not the least, it's probably one of the most iconic animals on this list. It's going to be the California quail. The range is California. The suggested caliber is the 17, the .22 long, any type of birdshot, and then a bow or a crossbow. Female quail can lay up to about 16 eggs in the 3-week breeding season, and they only live to be about 3 years old. They're really quick and agile birds. I guess that makes up for the inability to fly long distances. Their habitat's gonna be mostly the grasslands and maybe some wooded areas. It'll be sparse though. Then, like the rest of the small game, the lethality is a 0 out of 5. There you have it. We finally made it through the entire list. That is 17 species on the California map. We do have a couple more videos in the mix coming up, so definitely be on the lookout and subscribe if you haven't already. You'll find that the support is greatly appreciated here, as we are trying to get up to 500 subscribers now. So if you like this sort of content, let me know, and if you don't, also let me know what we can do over here to help out. But with that, I'm gonna get out of here, and as always, have a good day.